Hi, today I would like to talk about stress, anxiety, um, mood disorders, eating disorders, and behavior, and how that's all related to the gut. So let's get started. We have a gut-brain axis. Um, what this means is the brain and the gut communicate through various mechanisms. We have in the gut a nervous system, and it's called the enteric nervous system. So the central nervous system and the enteric nervous system communicate via the autonomic nervous system, so the vagus nerve, as well as through the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And this is the hormone communication between the gut and the brain and the brain and the gut. And then we also have neurotransmitters, so chemicals that are sending messages both ways as well. So we have the neurons through the vagus nerve, we have the hormones through the hormone axis, and neurotransmitters, so chemicals being transmitted and sent through the tissues. Why does this matter? So the brain tells the gut, the messages from the brain to the gut influence secretions, motility, gut motility, like peristalsis, the delivery of nutrients, absorption, and also influences the microbial balance. So good bacteria versus bad bacteria, prebiotics, probiotics, etc. And also immune function. And then from the gut up to the brain, we have the gut influences the mood centers of the brain, behavior, stress, and anxiety, and also the neurotransmitters that are being distributed and created, or fired off, if you will. So here's an interesting fact. Did you know that 95% of the body's serotonin is in the gut? So serotonin is our happy drug, our happy chemical in our body, and it's stored or manufactured, found in the gut. So if we have a dysbiosis or an unhealthy gut microbiome, it makes perfect sense that we might experience a down mood or depression, and depression and anxiety. And most people, when they're experiencing this, will get a diagnosis and start taking serotonin reuptake inhibitors so that the serotonin stays in the brain longer, which I'm not against that, but for long-term health and healing, it would make sense to pair that with some exploration on what the client is eating, how they're eating, because with an alteration, it can be a slight alteration of diet and the behavior and thought processes around eating and food. One can drastically change their gut microbiome, which then changes their levels of serotonin in their gut, and then those get distributed to the brain, and naturally happiness arises and stays around a bit longer. And And this is a process, of course, but it's also sustainable health. So now let's talk about eating disorders and how that's affected by the gut microbiome. So if one has an eating disorder, maybe they restrict food, um, or they overeat, and or they overeat and then purge, vomit, what have you. These all affect the microbiome. For example, restriction of food, and as is seen in anorexia nervosa, um, limits the amount, the diversity of good bacteria in the gut, bacteria in the gut, period. And this altered gut microbiome then affects metabolism and hunger and the satiety centers in the brain, which then contributes to dysbiosis, depression, and other psychological issues. And then this altered psychology then adds to poor eating habits, which reinforces everything I just said. So this is how eating disorders are also are related to and influenced by the gut microbiome. Interesting fact, they did a study with mice and injected them with antibiotics. And most of us are aware that antibiotics deplete our gut of good bacteria, because antibiotics kill all bacteria. So after they injected the mice with the antibiotics, the mice actually craved and binged on food. I mean, behavior that would be seen as a binge if you put it on a human being. So that what that means is that a depletion of good bacteria in the gut leads to binge eating disorder, if you will. So we have binge eating disorder, and then that taken to another level, which would be to purge, would be bulimia. So this is kind of explained with regard to the neurohormonal communication between the gut and the brain, which regulates hunger and satiety, as well as the neurotransmitters that are responsible for mood and anxiety. So these are altered, and so that communication continues between the brain and the gut, and the gut and the brain through these messaging pathways, and then just kind of perpetuates the vicious cycle. So interestingly, it's only been a couple decades that modern medicine has really explored and dived into this world of the gut microbiome, and how important it is, and how it just affects the entire being, the entire physiology, the metabolism of our food. But not, I mean, metabolism isn't just the way our body digests food, it's the way our tissues are made, from the lymph to the blood to the muscles to the fat to the bone marrow, all of that. Reproductive tissues. I mean, stress is huge. we increase stress, then the cortisol levels go up. The body is in this fight, flight, or freeze um, stage or state, and this affects inflammation. It affects the messages that are sent from the brain to the rest of the body, to the gut. It impedes or impairs this parasympathetic process of resting and digesting, and instead of resting and digesting in chronic stages of stress, in chronic stress, the body is not digesting. It's not able to rest. It's Ayurveda is known for this saying that we are not just what we eat, we are what we digest. So if we're not assimilating the nutrients of our food into the cells of our body, then it's all just passing through us, and so we are not able to receive the nourishment from the food we eat, even if we might be eating a healthy diet. So stress relieving practices are super important. Things like walking in nature, getting a good night's sleep, disconnecting from the screen before you go to bed, maybe an hour before you go to bed, and an hour, leave it after an hour, for an hour after you wake up. Try to reduce screen time. Get grounded, maybe do yoga, meditation. All of these things are super important to bring the levels of stress down. In Ayurveda, we would say kind of drop down from this pranic energy and drop back down into kind of your grounded, your root chakra, your apana. And then speaking of Ayurveda, it's so lovely to me to think about how Ayurveda is actually known how important the gut is for over 5,000 years. They say the gut is the gateway to health. And in Ayurveda, they emphasize the importance between prana, which is up in the head. It's all the senses that we take in, what we watch, what we smell, what we hear, what we eat, and then apana it's in the colon actually, and it's everything that comes out as well. So urine, stool, feces, babies, menstruation, semen. And so there's always been in Ayurveda the importance of balancing prana and apana. And in Ayurveda, they understand how apana is actually very influential to prana, because apana is on the bottom, and it's actually got some more earth qualities because of it deals with all of these materials, these substances, and so if apana goes out of balance, it actually moves upward, which then exacerbates imbalances through the three levels in between apana and prana, and then prana as well, which prana deals with respiration. And prana vata also controls consumption, perception, and the receival of knowledge. So it's always delightful to study Ayurveda, which I've done for quite some years now, and then to watch modern medicine have these amazing discoveries that just support everything Ayurveda already knows, but it makes it more accessible to to the modern man. All right, so that's my little talk about stress, anxiety, um, mood disorders, eating disorders, and how they are related to the gut. Um, and a little bit about the gut-brain axis and how Ayurveda um, and modern medicine kind of are speaking the same language, or talking about the same thing, but in a different language, so to speak. So thank you for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you know someone who might enjoy it as well, feel free to share it. Thank you so much. And if you want to watch more videos like this, you can subscribe. So thanks again for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you.